One of the most important jobs that a farmer is entrusted with is being a good steward of the ground. If we don't take care of it, it won't take care of us. If the water levels continue to decrease and eventually ran out, life out here ceased to exist. The water is the lifeblood of Western Kansas, its economy, and everyone's lives. My name is Steve Compton. We operate Circle C Farms out of Scott City, Kansas. My dad and I operate the farm here together. We've been irrigators for the last 30 years or so. We're primarily a dryland farm with about 15 to 20% of our ground is irrigated. We raise beans on the irrigated, corn, milo, wheat on the dry land. I grew up in northeast Kansas, up around Hiawatha. I moved out here when I was 15 years old. Of course, the different climates are considerably different between northeast Kansas and out here. Moving from an area back there that gets 35, 40 inches of moisture a year to an area out here that gets 17. That's moisture becomes very important. When they talk about inches of precipitation back there, we get excited about tenths out here. As the years have gone on, people's wells have been dropping off. They have to re-nozzle their pivots. There just isn't near the water that there was even 5 years ago, let alone what it was like back 30 years ago. Everything is based upon the water out here, whether it's feedlot industry, the cropping industry, or just manufacturing in general. And so if we kept over pumping that water out there, there was going to be no way that it was going to be able to return or survive. And without the conservation out here, the water levels were just going to deplete and it was going to go back to dryland levels. And everybody had the attitude to begin with that conservation's great, and it's even better if somebody else is doing it instead of me. Everybody was concerned that if you cut the water, they're going to lose that and you're just not going to be able to be sustainable with keeping up with everything. And I think a lot of people have found out that we can raise as much with less. Everybody knew that something needed to be done. It was just that nobody really knew where to start. And as the LEMA plan came about, everybody was looking for something to get on board with, and it was something to rally around and get together with it. We're great with acronyms. We like putting that into all kinds of stuff. The acronym LEMA stands for Local Enhanced Management Area, which means that an area has been identified that needs conservation, where the water levels are depleted and something needs to be done to, as a minimum, sustain those levels to keep them from depleting anymore, with eventual hopes of recharging that area. I've been on the water board out here for the last 3 years going on. I wanted to be involved, one, as an educational value, and secondly, to try to have input in that and see what we could do to prolong our situation out here. We've got a really good manager at the GMD, and she's really spearheading getting a lot of those agencies to work together. Everybody wants to be helpful, and everybody's got a program that they can do. It's just trying to get everybody to figure out and head in the same direction. That's a lot of it's been like herding cats, and we've got a great cat herder. And it doesn't matter how long the meetings are, how much we try to guess what's out there, there's always going to be a situation that comes up. So it doesn't matter how great of a master plan we lay out to begin with, you have to learn to be flexible and adaptive as you go on. Well, first off, you get involved with your community. You go to some of the board meetings, you do some listening on stuff like that. Each agency has an endless resource of materials to research and read, from websites to pamphlets that they have out. And if nothing else, just give them a call and go in and see them. Everybody is more than happy to sit down and have a conversation about this.